Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado. And this is my buddy Puccini, who helps me in the craft room. And we have another in the series of masculine cards for you today. These are done in navy and grays. And one person wrote to me and said, but these colors are all so boring. And somebody said, well, that's not very nice. And I wrote back and said, oh, it's all good. You know, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But you got to remember that this isn't for you. And what you might like, which is much brighter, I mean, I'm always in bright colors, is not necessarily what the recipient wants. Many of the men I give cards to, my brothers, my sons, male relatives and friends, they have a tendency to pick things that are very simply done and very monochromatic. And even when they pick like a sympathy card for somebody else, they go with the simplest design with as little muss and fuss as they can get on there, because it doesn't represent them to be real fussy and elaborate. And so I think you have to keep in mind the recipient on these and understand that sometimes what you might not like, they would. And so what I have today, and she's absolutely right, these are very simple cards. They're very minimal design. They're very in some ways boring, but sometimes that's kind of what they like. So that's what I've done. So I have my third in the series of masculine cards, and I have several different designs using retired stuff, and then we're going to make one that's using stuff that's more current. And so let's just get started. Okay, what I'm going to start with is showing you some of the designs that I used. It might give you inspiration. This is one that I did using an old stamp set called Winter Woods, and then the die set was this one called In the Woods. And so on this one, I used that same old Happy Birthday I've been using all along, which came from a paper pumpkin. This time I'm using this one from Simply Said, which is a current one, and it has birthday wishes, which I think is a really nice birthday. And this one I did minimal amount of material, just these trees down here, the happy birthday, a little bit of a copper embellishment. My fingers are all full of ink. And again, a little bit of these trees on the inside, real super simple. Now you could do this if you had some pine trees. So pine trees or any kind of woods arrangement. This one has birch trees, it has these trees, it has a pine tree, and this one is made thinking of you this season, so I wouldn't use that. And we've got a little bit of ground you could put underneath these trees. So there's quite a bit that you could use out of this old set. So that is one of the ones I made. Then you also using this design, it had these really pretty leaves in it. And so I did this one, and this is again very simple. I cut, this is on a basic, no, it's on a smoky slate base. And I did one happy birthday across here, And I found these embellishments, and they have a blue background and a little bit of sparkle in them. And these are called Regal Foiled Adhesive Back Dots, and I honestly don't know if these are current or not, but they might be. And I'll put it in the video if they are. But I took the leaves from this stamp set and I cut them in gray for the front, in the lighter gray, and then for the inside I cut them in navy to kind of bring the outside in, and just put one of those beads there. A couple of these leaves, any kind of an embossing folder to give this texture. The happy birthday, again, very simple and very monochromatic, but there you go. All right, this one is from an older set as well. This one is from High Tide, and it has these beautiful birds. It has this water and this either sun or moon, however you're looking at it. And so I added a little crumb cake linen thread and just did it in the Smoky Slate and the navy again. And admittedly, my stamp set could have been inked up a little bit more. And then I put the birds inside and put some more of the linen thread on the inside of the card, just to give it a little something something for the inside. So that's another one. Anything that you have that is like that, the old ocean front, in the meadow, there's a whole bunch of them that are just scenery of some sort. And you can just add that to anything. And most of the guys I know really like the things with the birds on them. And we've got several older ones that have those birds on them. Today, however, what I did was I decided I was going to do something that is more current. So this is the card for today. And it has birthday wishes from this Simply Said birthday wishes here. And then the stamp set is from, not Winter Woods, let's see if I can find it here. Yes, it's from Grassy Grove. And so I used these pine trees and I used this deer. And I put some pine trees and I used a little copper, and I ran out of copper beads. So I cut with a punch that I have, a single hole punch. I did a whole bunch of little copper circles, and that's what we're going to use. And I may have to cut a couple more before I'm done here, just to get it done. But I thought copper went well with the navy and the gray. And then on the inside I put Let's Celebrate, and that also came from the Simply Said. There's the Let's Celebrate, and more of the copper and the blue, and then a little hint of the deer. So I thought we would make this one together. Now what you need to make that one, let me move some of this out of the way. I used a Night of Navy card base, cut 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. Then you need 2 pieces of basic gray that are 4 inches. That one looks a little wide. Yep, I'm going to have to cut that down. 4 inches by 5 1/4, one for the inside and one for the outside. I have a 1-inch copper piece by 4 inches, and I have a 3/8 copper piece by 4 inches. And then I have 2 Night of Navy strips that are 3/8 of an inch by 4 inches. And it seems that I've lost some of my dots. Well, one of them is. So it looks like I need maybe another couple of those. And I have my hole punch here and a little piece of copper. And this is an old Stampin' Up hole punch, but any old hole punch will do. And I'm going to cut out several more circles so we have plenty. So you don't have to have special material. You can get this stuff from however you get it is just fine. But there we have a bunch of these copper circles. Let me see if I can get them out of the way here so I don't lose them again. There's one. I think that's a copper circle, and this is not. Okay, so I've got 6 or 7 of them. That should be plenty. All right, so let's do our stamping first. So on this, what I did was I used my Night of Navy ink. Let me see if I can get this open. And there's my Night of Navy ink. And let me cut this panel down. I can tell that it's not the right width. It needs to be 4 inches across. And so there we go. There's my 4 inches. And 5 1/4. That's right. So the rest of that is fine. Okay, so we'll take one of these panels, and I've got my trees mounted here, and I've got my birthday wishes. Let's start with the birthday wishes, which I'm going to put right up here to one side on this card. And there's my birthday wishes. And then my trees, I stamped and then restamped without inking, but I decided I don't like that. I like the darker trees. So I'm going to stamp one set of trees right along this edge in the dark navy blue. And again, that wasn't perfectly stamped, so I may need to stamp another one over that to hide that. And then I'm going to stamp another set right here. And since we went down, I'll do that on this one. So there's my trees. Then I have my deer. And it's real important, because this is mostly a solid stamp, that your ink pad is really well inked and that you check to make sure you've got plenty of ink on here. And then I'm going to send my deer right down here in this corner. And there we go. We've got our deer, and you know, his body isn't perfect. So if you take a blender brush with a little bit of navy ink on it, you can kind of push that ink around so you get more of a solid stamping where you want it. Now he's got some parts of him that are supposed to be a little bit lighter, and so we'll leave those. But this way you can make sure you've got the dark every place you want it. And just using the medium on one of these blending brushes is enough to move that around and make it look right. Okay, there we go. So let's see, on the inside, what we have stamped is our Let's Celebrate. And let's see where that one is. It's right here. So I'm going to ink up my Let's Celebrate and put it here towards the top in the middle. And there's our Let's Celebrate. Now we're just about ready to put this together. These are very simple. So this piece goes, let's see, I need a copper piece. Close up this ink before I put my fist in it. Okay, so I've got here the broader 1-inch copper piece, which we're just going to put some snail on and put down here. And I should be using my silicone mat here. So I'm going to put some glue down on this and get that put into place right here, right underneath our birthday wishes, going all the way across this piece of card. And I generally cut these to maybe a little generous, 4 inches, because it's real easy to trim and then have it fit perfectly. So I'm just going to trim off that excess. So that is like that now. And we're going to take one of these 3/8 inch strips and put some glue on the back of that strip. And I'm going to center that on this copper piece. And so right here, centered on that, going all the way across. A little glue on that copper, but you can encourage it off with your finger. And I'm going to trim that up so that it fits right across there. And there we go. So there's our front done, with the exception of a couple of these little copper pieces. And I think I'm going to put 3 on. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to put just a tiny bit of glue on the back. There we go. And I'm going to put one right after my birthday wishes here. And I had put one here by those trees and one down here at the bottom near the deer. All right, that's all ready to go on our card front. So I will add some snail to it. And then I thought maybe next time we would do, maybe take a break from this and do the paper pumpkin alternatives, and then I'll come back to some more masculine cards. But there we go. There's that one. The front already done. Now, on this back part, what I have is a piece of this Night of Navy. I'm going to add some snail to it and put it in place right under our Let's Celebrate. Let's Celebrate could be a little straighter on there. You make yours real straight. Okay, so here we go. Off this goes. And then I have another little piece of copper that's a 1/2 inch, and I thought we could just lay that across here on the bottom. So again, I'm going to just put some snail right down the middle of that, and let's put it in place right along here and all the way across. Trim off, get that on straight. Trim off the excess and put that on the inside. And there we go. We have another in our series of mail cards, and I'll bring those others back so you can take a look at them, and you can look back through your stash and see what might be appropriate that you can do along those lines as well. And there we go. Very simple. And that one is done. And so there's the one we made today. And then the other ones that I had that got made for this series are this one, which came from High Tide. This one came from Winter Woods. And this one came from Winter Woods. But I really like this Birthday Wishes. That's really a nice one. It's a good one for masculine cards because it's not too fussy. And there we go. There is Night of Navy and grays, either basic gray or the Smoky Slate. This one with a little bit of copper. This one with just a few leaves. I still think it's pretty masculine. And then I just did the opposite color leaves on the inside. You could add other sentiments on the inside, but there you go. There's 4 more samples of some cards that might be used for masculine cards. Well, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, well, I'd love to be your demonstrator. And we're still in celebration through this week, so we've got through the end of the month for the join offer and for celebration gifts and additional freebies. And so I will be back soon with more cards, more projects, and more tips. Bye!